Hello. Today I'm going to be talking about a study on how well elderly patients with bipolar stick to their medication regimes. The researchers Tahigi and colleagues designed what they call a comprehensive individual motivational educational program, which is academic language for we gave them pep talks and pamphlets. But the goal, to find out whether extra motivation and education could improve medication adherence. Spoiler alert, it did, but let's talk about how they did it and how far we can actually trust the results. So the study used an experimental pre-test and post-test design with repeated measures. A total of 62 elderly patients, age 60 and above, all diagnosed with bipolar disorder and an acute manic phase, were recruited from one psychiatric hospital in Iran. They were randomly assigned into intervention and control groups, although randomization was handled using permuted blocks, meaning balanced but not necessarily blinded. To measure medication adherence, researchers used an 8-item Mirsky medication adherence inventory, a standard self-report scale where, ironically, people are trusted to honestly admit whether or not they skipped their medication. The intervention consisted of 4 30 to 45-minute sessions over 1 month, combining education about the importance of adherence with motivational interviewing techniques. Each session involved both the patient and their primary caregiver, which is great, unless, of course, the caregiver is half the reason the patient forgets to take their meds in the first place. Meanwhile, the control group received routine care, which was vaguely described as medication, occupational therapy, and psychotherapy. Translation: business as usual, guys. So adherence was assessed before, immediately after, and 1 month after, and then 2 months after the intervention. Some of the key results was that, unsurprisingly, the intervention group showed significant improvement in adherence across all post-test points, while the control group remained roughly the same. So yes, motivational education works, at least temporarily. So the next is going to be our limitations. The first one is that this is an extremely specific sample size. All of these participants were hospitalized elderly Iranians in the manic phase of bipolar disorder, all with caregivers present. That's about as narrow as a recruitment funnel can get. Can this program be assumed to work for outpatients, younger adults, people without consistent caregivers? That's unclear. The second limitation is the reliance on self-report. This test, the Mirsky scale, is quick and practical, but also highly susceptible to social desirability bias. If someone is sitting across from the researcher who just spent 40 minutes motivating them to take medication, they're probably not going to proudly admit, actually, I still toss my pills in a plant in the same session. So the last limitation that I found the most important is the short follow-up window. The 2 months later is not a very long time. Behavior change is great, but whether it sticks over 6 months or a year is the real question. This design is more short-term enthusiasm boost than long-term habit transformation. So for a redesign suggestion, I would say objective adherence measures such as electronic pill caps or pharmacy refill tracking to verify actual behavior instead of polite self-reporting. A more diverse sample, including outpatients, individuals without caregivers, multiple cultural backgrounds, to test whether motivation works outside of this tightly controlled hospital conditions. And extending the follow-up to 6 months or 12 months later to see if enthusiasm fades. So in summary, the study does a good job of demonstrating that motivation and education can boost medication adherence, at least in the short term and under close supervision. It's promising, practical, and worth expanding, but before calling it a universal solution, future studies should test whether patients stay motivated after the research assistant leaves the room. And that is the end of this. I hope you enjoyed, and yeah, see you guys later.